The establishment of God's nation under Jesus. The killing of the false Messiah will traumatize the Christians and Jews who had followed him, for it will finally reveal to them that he was not what he had claimed to be. The Prophet of Islam, may the mercy and blessings of God be upon him, said, "The Son of Mary will soon descend among you and will judge justly. According to the law of God, he will break the cross and kill the pig." Sahih al-Bukhari. The breaking of the cross may be figurative or literal, the destruction of erected idols in churches and tearing down of crosses from their steeples, as well as forbidding the use of personal crosses as symbols of religion, or the destruction of the myth that the Romans executed him on a cross at the instigation of the Jews. Likewise, the killing of the pigs may be both literal and figurative, conducting a campaign to kill all pigs so the consumption of their meat becomes impossible, allowing them to be killed, or simply reimposing the ban God made since time immemorial on eating their flesh, effectively forcing pig farmers to get rid of their stock by culling. In effect, two of the mainstays of widespread Christian practice will be removed, indicating that the religion taught by modern Christians would henceforth be defunct, marking a return to the faith as intended initially, Islam. The invasion of the Gog and Magog. Who the Gog and Magog are is not known, though it is known from a hadith found in the two principal books of authentic narrations, Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, that they are of the nations of humanity. Of them, the Quran says, "When he reached a valley between two mountains, he found a people who could barely understand a word. They said, 'O Dhul Qarnayn, verily, Gog and Magog are doing great mischief in the land. Will you accept a tribute from us so that you build a barrier between us and them?'" Quran 18:93-94. After Dhul Qarnayn carried out their request, without exacting tribute, he told them, "This is a mercy from my Lord, but when the promise of my Lord comes, he shall level it to the ground. And the promise of my Lord is ever true. And on that day, we shall leave some of them to surge like waves on one another." Quran 18:98-99. This means that there will be people who are not under the jurisdiction of Jesus when he accepts the pledge from former Jews and Christians. And the Gog and Magog will be the final threat to the believers before his reign of peace. Again, the Quran says, "When the Gog and Magog swoop down from every ridge, and the true promise draws near, you will see the disbelievers, their eyes staring fixedly, in horror. They will say, 'Woe to us, indeed we're heedless of this, and we were wrongdoers.'" Quran 21:96-97. Not even Jesus will be able to withstand the coming of the Gog and Magog, for they will swarm the land destructively like locusts. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri reported that the Prophet said that only the Muslims who retreat into their cities and strongholds with their cattle and sheep will survive the onslaught. It is also said, "God will reveal to Jesus, son of Mary, I have brought forth people from among my creatures against whom none will be able to fight. Take my worshippers safely to Mount Tur." Sahih Muslim. The Gog and Magog will be so many that when the last horde passes through a lake bed from whose water the first rank had drunk, they will mourn, "There used to be water here, once." Anybody not from themselves, except for the Muslims and their strongholds and refuges, will be killed, and the horde will declaim, "We have defeated the people of earth. Now only the people of heaven are left, for us to defeat." On that, one will fire an arrow into the sky, and it will fall back to earth blood-stained. Though the Gog and Magog will think they have obtained victory, their very boast would be their downfall, for the blood on their weapons will be nothing but a test from God. The end of Gog and Magog. When the Gog and Magog have driven the Muslims to hole up in their strongholds and refuges and see the blood on their weapons, which will have returned from the sky, they will take these as evidence for their imminent victory over the Muslims. However, that evening, Jesus and his companions will beseech God, and God will send against them, the Gog and Magog, worms which will attack their necks, and in the morning, they will all perish as one. Sahih Muslim. Not knowing the horde was already destroyed, the Muslims in their strongholds would call for a volunteer to scout out what the enemy was doing. Knowing he would probably die, the volunteer will descend to find them all dead, lying on top of one another. Returning, he will call out, "O Muslims, rejoice! God has sufficed us against our enemies." When Jesus and the people who took refuge on Mount Tur descend, they will find the same scene, with not a single spot of the earth around them free of the putrefying stench of rotting bodies. So sickening and dangerous to health will be the situation that Jesus will pray again to God, who will send giant birds to carry them off and throw them into the sea where the sun rises. The aftermath. After that, God will send a drenching, intense rain that penetrates everything, lasting 40 days. Unlike the deluge, this torrential rainfall will be beneficial for the earth will be washed till it looks like a mirror. God will then order the earth, "Bring forth your fruit and restore your blessing." Sahih Muslim. The Muslims will let their cattle and flocks out to graze again, and they will fatten up better than from any vegetation they had fed on before. Orchards will produce fruit of size and quality never known before, and cattle produce fine quality milk in copious amounts, enough so that nobody will experience any shortage. The benefits, then, from the advent of the Gog and Magog, will be the decimation of non-believers, leaving the world for a nation of believers, and food in abundance after the earth had absorbed all the dead decaying bodies caused by their invasion and later extermination. For some time, wealth would be so abundant that people could not find those to whom they could pay out people with low incomes. Abu Huraira reported the Prophet, may the mercy and blessings of God be upon him, as saying, "And there will be no jizya. Money will be in abundance so that nobody will accept it, in charity." Sahih al-Bukhari. The reign and death of Jesus. The reign of Jesus, may God grant him peace, will be by the law that Muhammad brought. This is by the covenant that God took from all his prophets. In the Quran, it says, "Behold, God took the covenant of the prophets, saying, I have given you the book and wisdom. Then will come a messenger to you confirming what is with you, so believe in him and render him help." God said, "Do you agree, and take this covenant as binding upon you?" They said, "We agree." He said, "Then bear witness. And I am with you among the witnesses." Quran 3 hours 81 minutes. The reign of Jesus, therefore, will be according to the covenant with God, and this is backed up by an explanation of the saying of the Prophet by Abu Huraira when he reported a question he had asked his companions. He said, "The Messenger of God said, what would you do when the Son of Mary descends among you, and lead as one among you?" One of the companions, Ibn Abu Thib, asked, "What does he will lead as one among you mean?" Abu Huraira replied, "He will lead you according to the book of your Lord, exalted and praised is he, and the way of your messenger. His reign will be marked by mutual respect, peace and prosperity among the people." In another hadith, Abu Huraira said, "Spite, mutual hatred and jealousy against one another will disappear, and when he, Jesus, summons people to accept wealth, none will do so." Sahih al-Bukhari. The lack of animosity between people will be absolute, not relative, for at least 7 years, wherein no two people would be stirred to ire towards each other, and the word between them would be peace. Religiosity and piety will be the order of the day for each person. A single prostration to God, in prayer, will be better than the whole world and whatever is in it. Sahih al-Bukhari. Jesus will not only rule and judge by the Muslim Sharia, he will complete all the Islamic pillars. The Prophet of Islam said, "By him in whose hand my life is, the Son of Mary will certainly invoke the name of God for Hajj or Umrah or both in the valley of Rauha, a valley near Medina." Sahih Muslim. Then, 40 years after his second coming, he will die, and the Muslims will perform the funeral prayer for him. And this moment is the moment God is referring to in the Quranic verse. "And there is none of the people of the book who must believe in him before his death." Quran 4:159. God willing, all the people will be of one book then. Conclusion. As we can see, the return of Jesus to the earth will be a truly magnificent event, surrounded by genuinely marvelous incidents, so glorious that one may find it even fantasy-like. Jesus will come at a time when the world is in genuine need of divine help. Indeed, this divine help will come with Jesus, But some of the trials of those days will be so great that not even he will be able to face them, fleeing to the tops of mounts with his followers. Only God will be able to save humanity in that time. Albeit, not only will this divine help come to put an end to the most significant trials faced by humankind since the dawn of time, the false Messiah and Gog and Magog, but it will also come to show the truth about God, putting an end to all falsehood, with everyone being united under the one true religion of God.